Alright, this will be a little trickier to do here one-handed. But, alright, for cutting sprinkler tile, you're going to want to remove the protective cap. And then, on a normal, well, you can do it on these two. You can either on a tagular tile, take your measurement from the actual edge of that and pull your measurement from the tag, or with a flat lay-in, you can do this with the tagular too. You can go to the inside, and just remember that a ceiling tile is 23 3/4, not 24. The space is 24 center, but your tile is 23 3/4. So you need to subtract 1/8, from whatever you have. So if we do it this method, we've got 12 3/8. So we want to go 12 1/4 from the edge. Now, if in order to not mark this up, you can do this. You lay your marker pretty close right there. All right, so we know it's 12 1/4. Now, I'm gonna go from this side, and this is where it gets a little backwards. So you really got to pay close attention. So here we got 12 1/4. So I'm gonna want 12 1/8. Now that was from here, but you got to remember you're flipping this upside down. So you got to pick an axis you're going to flip. So since I pulled this from the same side, you got to pull your other from the opposite side. So we said 12, we're going to get that real close right there. You're going to go 12 1/8. Right there. And then we said it was 12 3/8, so 12 1/4 from that side. I'm doing this left-handed, so it's a little awkward while trying to hold the camera. All right. Now, I've already got my circle cutter here set up, 2.5 inches, which, by the way, usually you need to be back from your mark, because you can see the edge of this. I don't know why. They're all a little off like that. So, got that at 2.5. Set that in your center. If you have a hole saw, that works too. We're old school here. Now, another trick, I'm gonna have to set the camera down for this. But when you go to cut your hole, what I like to do is back bevel. So stay to the inside of your hole saw cut and just bevel it back a little bit, because that gives you some room to angle it up into there better to get your tile in. Now, something I'm gonna have to pause the video for, but this type of bracket system, if it was just hard piped, we would just do it as is. But because of this type of bracket, you actually have to loosen this, and essentially, usually these things are super tight. You do that, you open that, pay attention to where the sprinkler guy has already set it at. He's got it about 2 inches. And then you actually have to remove the head in order to get your tile in. Carefully set it aside. You have to be able to do that in order to get these tile in with this type of bracket, because when you try to come in at an angle, you hit this and you can't get vertical enough to get the tile in. It's impossible. Try it if you don't believe me, won't work. So you have to take this. These guys have been too lazy and have not been setting their tiles in anywhere, so we have to do it. So this is what we do there. Now let me pause, get this cut, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so now we got that cut. As you can see, I back beveled it, which makes it easier to get in. This is still going to be really hard to do one-handed, but you can see how it hits the bracket right there. So what you want to do is do this, but you wouldn't be able to do that if that sprinkler head was in place. That's why that bracket, when they have a bracket like that, you have to remove the head. Now, since I'm doing this one hand, I gotta move the ladder over a little bit here. Let's see if I can set this down and not bump it in the process here. All right, so we got that. Take your sprinkler head very carefully. Get it set back into place. Drop it down where it should be, right about that 2 inches. Close the clasp. You can check it from underneath if you need to. Make sure that you're not too high. Looks like I could go down just a hair. Just a little bit. About right there. Close that. Tighten it back up. If the sprinkler guys are smart, which sometimes they're not, they would put this up, and then you would use a star bit, a T25, I think it is. And then you could use a cordless screw gun and make this part way faster. But they're dumb and put it upside down, so gotta do it by hand. Yeah, there we go. All right. It. Take your cap and replace it. And they'll come back later, set their heads, but there you go, a perfectly cut sprinkler head. And you just gotta repeat for the rest of them, essentially.